The human recruit. Sergeant Maya Chen stepped off the transport shuttle onto the gleaming landing pad of the Galactic Defense Academy, squinting against the harsh blue light of Rigel 7's twin suns. Her standard-issue Earth Defense Force duffel bag hung casually over one shoulder, containing little more than a few personal effects, her training manuals, and enough protein bars to last a week. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's, giving her steps a subtle bounce that would take some getting used to. Human Chen, I presume. A tall, willowy figure approached. The Arcturian skin had a silvery sheen that rippled with each movement, and its 4 eyes blinked in alternating pairs. I am Deputy Commandant Visk. Your arrival is unexpected. Maya straightened her posture and offered a crisp salute. Sergeant Maya Chen, Earth Defense Force, reporting as requested for the Interspecies Training Exchange Program. Visk's upper eyes narrowed while the lower pair widened. A gesture Maya had been briefed meant skepticism. Yes, well, when the Council suggested including humans in our instructor exchange, there was significant debate. Your species has only recently achieved interstellar capability. 27 years isn't that recent, Deputy Commandant. Maya replied with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. And we've been fighting each other for thousands of years before that. The Arcturian skin rippled in what Maya recognized as discomfort. Indeed, your species' propensity for internal conflict is well documented. Follow me, please. As they walked through the sprawling academy complex, Maya noted the diverse array of species, from the hulking Bernaxians with their armored exoskeletons to the delicate crystalline Solari who hovered rather than walked. All of them gave her curious, sometimes dismissive glances. You'll be assigned to Training Squadron 6, Visk explained, leading her through a series of corridors that seemed designed to disorient. They're primarily first-cycle cadets learning basic defensive protocols. We thought this would be appropriate for your expertise level. Maya bit her tongue. She'd been a drill instructor at Earth's toughest combat school for 8 years and had 3 live combat deployments before that. But she understood the diplomatic importance of this assignment. Humans were the newcomers in galactic society, and they had a lot to prove. Squadron 6 is fine, Deputy Commandant. I look forward to the opportunity. They arrived at a circular chamber where 20-odd alien cadets of various species were engaged in what appeared to be a coordination exercise. Under the watchful eye of a reptilian instructor, they were attempting to move a glowing sphere through a complex maze, using telekinetic devices attached to their various appendages. Commander Zex, Visk called. Your human has arrived. The reptilian turned, his scaled face unreadable, but his posture instantly stiffening. So this is Earth's contribution to our academy. His voice was like gravel in a blender. Sergeant Maya Chen. She introduced herself, offering another salute. Reporting for instruction duty. Zex circled her slowly, his amber eyes assessing. You seem fragile. Humans have no natural armor, no enhanced senses, no exceptional strength. We make do, Maya replied evenly. The commander made a sound that might have been a scoff. Training concludes in 30 minutes. You may observe until then. Tomorrow, you will be permitted a single instruction period to demonstrate human combat techniques. His emphasis on the word human made it sound like an insult. Maya spent the remainder of the session observing the alien cadets. Their movements were precise, their coordination impressive, but something felt off to her trained eye. They moved like machines programmed for specific scenarios rather than adaptable fighters. The next morning, Maya arrived at the training chamber dressed in her standard Earth Defense Force training uniform. Simple gray fatigues that offered mobility and comfort. The alien cadets were already assembled, their expressions, on those who had recognizable faces, ranging from curiosity to thinly veiled contempt. Cadets, attention. Commander Zex barked. As part of the Galactic Council's Cultural Exchange Initiative, Sergeant Chen of Earth will be demonstrating human combat methodology. You will observe respectfully. He turned to Maya. The chamber is yours, Sergeant. You have 1 standard cycle. Maya stepped forward, taking in the 23 alien faces watching her. "Good morning, cadets. Today I'll be introducing you to what we on Earth call basic combat conditioning." "Excuse me, instructor," interrupted a Branaxian cadet, his massive frame dwarfing Maya's. "Will we be using standard neural simulators for pain avoidance training?" Maya smiled. "No neural simulators today. Human training is a bit more hands-on. We'll start with a simple warm-up. Everyone find space in the chamber." The cadets exchanged confused glances but complied. "Now, I want everyone to perform 50 standard push-ups, followed by 50 sit-ups, and finish with a 2-kilometer run around the academy perimeter." Silence fell over the chamber. "Is this some form of humor?" asked a glittering Solari cadet, her voice tinkling like wind chimes. "Physical exertion as a warm-up. No joke, cadet. In human military training, we begin each day with physical conditioning." Commander Zex stepped forward. "Sergeant Chen, perhaps you're unaware that many species here have different physiological. I've studied the physiological capabilities of every species represented in this squadron, Commander," Maya interrupted respectfully but firmly. "Nothing I've asked is beyond their capabilities, though it may be beyond their comfort zones." What followed was nothing short of chaos. The cadets attempted the exercises with varying degrees of success and mounting disbelief. The Branaxians struggled with the push-ups, their heavy exoskeletons working against them. The hovering Solari were completely flummoxed by the concept of sit-ups. By the time they started the run, several were already voicing protests. "This is primitive torture, not training," gasped a Proximan cadet, his gill-like respiratory organs fluttering in distress. Maya jogged alongside them effortlessly. "This is a standard warm-up for human recruits. Children do this in our schools." The looks of disbelief were priceless. After the warm-up, Maya moved to Phase 2. "Now we'll work on hand-to-hand combat basics." "Without neural interfaces?" asked a worried cadet. "Without interfaces," Maya confirmed. "In real combat, you won't have time to connect to systems. You need muscle memory and instinct." For the next hour, Maya drilled the cadets in basic strikes, blocks, and evasive maneuvers. She demonstrated takedowns on willing volunteers, including the massive Branaxian who had first questioned her methods. When she flipped him over her shoulder using his own momentum, the entire class fell silent. "Humans train for unpredictability," she explained, helping the stunned Branaxian to his feet. "We don't just prepare for expected scenarios. We prepare for chaos." By the end of the session, the cadets were exhausted, sore, and looking at Maya with new eyes. Even Commander Zex seemed less dismissive, his scaled arms crossed as he observed the proceedings with growing interest. "Your species trains like this regularly?" he asked as the cadets were dismissed. This was the gentle introduction, Maya said with a small smile. "Week 2 is when it gets challenging." Word spread quickly through the academy. By the next day, senior instructors were showing up to observe Maya's sessions. By the end of the week, cadets from other squadrons were requesting transfers. The turning point came during the 3rd week. Maya had set up a combat scenario in the academy's simulation chamber, a hostage rescue operation with multiple unknown variables. "You will have incomplete intelligence, limited resources, and no pre-established plan," she explained to the cadets. "You will need to adapt, improvise, and make difficult decisions under pressure." "This is counter to all established galactic training protocols," protested one of the visiting instructors, a multi-limbed Phylaxian. "Cadets must master standard procedures before attempting improvisation." "With respect," Maya replied, "humans have found that the ability to adapt often means the difference between success and failure, especially when standard procedures fail." The simulation was brutal. Maya had programmed it based on an actual operation she participated in on Earth, removing the most traumatic elements but keeping the chaos authentic. Cadets were forced to communicate under stress, make split-second decisions, and deal with the consequences of their choices. To everyone's surprise, they performed remarkably well. "Your training methods are unorthodox, Sergeant," Deputy Commandant Visk commented later that evening, but I cannot argue with the results. Squadron 6 performance metrics have improved by 28% in just 3 weeks. Maya nodded. Humans may not have natural armor or enhanced senses, but we've had to become adaptable. When all you have is your wits and determination, you learn to make them sharp. As the first month of her assignment drew to a close, Maya realized something had changed. The once skeptical looks had transformed into expressions of respect, sometimes even awe. And when a new batch of human recruits was scheduled to arrive the following month, there was no debate about their value to the Academy. Trial by fire. The emergency klaxons tore through the Academy at 300 hours, their piercing wail dragging Maya from a deep sleep. She was on her feet and dressed in seconds, a response honed by years of drills and real emergencies. The pulsing red lights in the corridor told her this was no exercise. Attention all personnel. The automated system announced in 17 different languages. Security breach in Section 7. Unknown hostiles have penetrated the Academy defense grid. All cadets report to designated safety zones. All instructors report to Command Center Alpha for assignment. Maya sprinted through the corridors, joining the stream of instructors heading toward the command center. Emergency containment shields had already activated, sectioning off parts of the Academy. Chin. Commander Zex's gravelly voice cut through the chaos. With me. She followed him into a small tactical room adjacent to the main command center where Deputy Commandant Visk and several senior instructors were huddled around a holographic display of the Academy. Raiders, Visk explained tersely, 4 eyes blinking rapidly in distress. They'd breached the auxiliary power system and weapons storage. We believe they're after the prototype defense systems. How many? Maya asked, studying the hologram. Sensors indicate 12 to 15 intruders, replied a Thalaxian instructor. Heavily armed and using neural scramblers to avoid identification. Where are the cadets? Maya's first thought was for Squadron 6. Visk gestured to a section of the hologram. Safety Protocol Epsilon activated automatically. All cadet quarters were sealed and designated as secure zones. Commander Zex made a hissing sound. Not all. Squadron 6 was conducting night navigation exercises in the North Quadrant training grounds. They've been cut off from the designated safety zones. Maya felt her stomach drop. Her cadets, and after 3 months at the Academy, she did think of them as hers, were potentially in the Raiders' path. We have security forces responding, Visk continued, but the neural scramblers are interfering with our coordination systems. It will take time to recalibrate. Maya studied the tactical display, her mind racing. The Raiders will need to pass through Training Hall C to reach the prototype storage. That's less than 200 meters from where Squadron 6 should be. Zex's amber eyes fixed on her. What are you suggesting, Sergeant? Let me go to them. I can lead them to safety, or if necessary, organize them to assist in containing the threat. Absolutely not, Visk protested. They are untested cadets, not combat personnel. With respect, Deputy Commandant, they've been training in human combat techniques for 3 months now. They're better prepared than you might think. Before Visk could object further, the hologram flickered as a new alert appeared. Raiders changing course, reported the Thalaxian. They're heading directly toward the North Quadrant training grounds. They must have detected the cadets, Zex growled. Maya was already moving. I need a direct communication link to Squadron 6 and any weapons you can spare. To her surprise, Commander Zex handed her his own sidearm. This doesn't follow protocol. Sergeant. Maya checked the weapon. An energy pistol with 16 charges. Neither does getting cadets killed, Commander. She raced through the Academy, using service corridors and maintenance shafts to avoid the main halls where Raiders might be present. The North Quadrant was 6 minutes away at a dead run. Too long if the Raiders were already closing in. Her comm unit crackled to life. Sergeant Chen. It was Tvix, a Solari cadet, and Squadron 6's top student. We've received the alert. Our position is compromised. Stay calm. Tivix. How many cadets are with you? All 23 of us, Sergeant. We've taken cover in the ecological simulation chamber as per your contingency training. Maya smiled grimly. Her insistence on redundant rally points was paying off. Good. Listen carefully. Raiders are heading your way. I'm coming to you, but you need to prepare. Standard defense protocol. Tivix asked. No, Maya replied, ducking into a ventilation shaft that would cut 2 minutes off her route. Chaos Protocol Charlie. There was a moment of silence before Tivix responded, her crystalline voice now carrying a note of determination. Understood, Sergeant. Charlie initiated. Chaos Protocol Charlie was one of Maya's more controversial training innovations, a response strategy for situations where conventional tactics would fail. It emphasized unpredictability, environmental manipulation, and psychological warfare. The Academy instructors had deemed it unnecessarily complex and borderline barbaric, but Squadron 6 had embraced it. Maya reached the ecological simulation chamber just as her comm unit lit up with proximity alerts. The raiders were less than a minute out. She slipped through the auxiliary entrance to find her cadets transformed. Gone were the uncertainties of training. Each cadet was in position, the chamber's various environments, designed to simulate different planetary conditions, now repurposed as ambush zones. They had reconfigured the environmental controls to create zones of extreme temperature, altered gravity, and visual distortion. Sergeant, Tivix glided over, her crystalline form glittering in the dim emergency lighting. We've established 3 defensive lines and prepared the chamber as you taught us. Perfect. Maya quickly assessed their preparations. The raiders will expect terrified cadets, not organized resistance. We need to hold them here until security forces can recalibrate. The main doors to the chamber shuddered as something impacted them from the outside. Remember your training, Maya told the assembled cadets, moving to her position at the first defensive line. Unpredictability is our advantage. They won't expect what's coming. The doors slid open with a hydraulic hiss, and the first raiders entered. Humanoid figures in sleek black armor, faces obscured by neural scrambling masks. They moved with professional precision, weapons at the ready, until the chamber's first surprise activated. The gravity in the entry zone suddenly reversed, sending 3 raiders crashing upward into the ceiling. Simultaneously, the lighting shifted to a disorienting strobe pattern timed precisely to the human stress response threshold, a technique Maya had borrowed from Earth's special forces. Now, Maya shouted. The cadets sprung their ambush. Tivix and 2 other Solari cadets used their natural light manipulation abilities to create blinding flashes. The Bernaxians, led by Cadet Gorv, charged forward with improvised shields made from environmental panels. From concealed positions, other cadets launched a barrage of non-lethal projectiles, training munitions repurposed as disorientation devices. The raiders, expecting easy targets, found themselves in carefully orchestrated chaos. 4 went down in the first exchange, their neural scramblers overloaded by the cadets' coordinated assault. Second line, prepare. Maya called, firing her borrowed weapon to disable rather than kill. She positioned herself as the obvious target, drawing fire away from the cadets. The raiders regrouped quickly. These were professionals, not common criminals. One of them barked orders in a language Maya didn't recognize, and they began a more methodical advance, using portable shield generators to push forward. Maya tapped her comm. Phase 2. Execute. The chamber's environmental systems roared to life again. The desert biome erupted in a blinding sandstorm, while the Arctic zone vented freezing air into the raiders' path. The combination created a swirling, obscuring fog that played havoc with thermal sensors. Through this chaos, Squadron 6 executed a textbook flanking maneuver, just as they had practiced countless times in Maya's drills. 2 raiders went down, then 3 more. But the remaining intruders were adapting, focusing their fire on the environmental controls. A blast caught Maya in the shoulder, spinning her against the wall. The pain was immediate and searing, but she forced it aside. Third line, full engagement. The final phase of their defense was the most aggressive. Cadet Gorv led a direct charge while the more agile species attacked from multiple angles. Maya pushed herself up, ignoring the wound, and rejoined the fight. The last raiders fought desperately, but they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. When Academy security forces finally broke through, they found an unexpected scene. 12 subdued raiders, 23 exhausted but triumphant cadets, and 1 injured human surgeon directing it all from a makeshift command position. Impossible, Deputy Commandant Visk whispered, surveying the aftermath. Cadets shouldn't be capable of this level of coordination under duress. Commander Zex helped Maya to a medical drone. Not standard cadets, perhaps, but it seems these have had exceptional training. In the days that followed, the story spread throughout the Galactic Defense Academy and beyond. Squadron 6 was officially commended by the Galactic Council itself. The cadets, once skeptical of human methods, now spoke of them with reverence. During the formal recognition ceremony, Maya stood at attention, her injured shoulder still healing but her posture perfect. Sergeant Chen, Deputy Commandant Visk addressed her, all 4 eyes focused in respect. Your methods have been educational for us all. The Academy Curriculum Committee has requested that you develop a comprehensive human combat training program for implementation across all squadrons. Maya nodded. I would be honored, Deputy Commandant. Later, as cadets from across the Academy approached her for guidance, Commander Zex pulled her aside. I must ask, Sergeant, he said, his gravelly voice lowered, is all human combat training truly this intensive? Maya smiled. Commander, what you've seen is what we consider basic. On Earth, this is how we train our standard forces, our specialized units. She shook her head. That would really shock you. As she looked around at the diverse faces of the galactic community's future defenders, Maya felt a swell of pride. Humans might be newcomers to the galactic stage, lacking the natural advantages of other species, but they brought something else equally valuable: millennia of adapting, overcoming, and surviving against the odds. Sometimes, the greatest strength was simply refusing to accept limitations, a very human trait that was now spreading throughout the stars.